Did you see how a single nail did more damage to Sukuna than the Lightning God's beast form? Oh, and I'm gonna tell you how Nobara actually survived Mahito's idol transfiguration. Here's the ranking of every sorcerer's contribution against Sukuna. Let me start off with the dude with the most unique domain in the series, Hiromi Higuruma. Bro, even Sukuna thinks Higuruma is broken. This guy's talents have the potential to rival Satoru Gojo himself. That's high praise coming from the BBEG himself. Can't deny it though, Higuruma's smart and talented. He's a goddamn lawyer, okay? So with the Executioner's Sword, shouldn't Hiromi have been able to still end Sukuna? Hiromi did manage to pierce Sukuna's hand with the sword, but Sukuna pulled a big brain move by cutting his hand off before the technique could work on him. Like, Sukuna's too quick. Caught off guard by what happened, Hiromi was not sleek enough to dodge the heavy blow that followed. But before he could pass out, he did manage to toss the remaining piece of the Executioner's Sword to Yuji. He was like, "It's your turn, cuz." Higuruma still at least deserves the 10th spot for contribution, because even though the plan to use the Executioner's Sword to speed run the fight went out of whack, Higuruma's power and potential still kept Sukuna on his toes, providing breaks and help and hope for others. Plus, confiscating the cursed tool out of the fight was still a dope-ass move, even though the target was Sukuna's domain to begin with. I always wondered, like, how did that happen though? Did Judge Man make a mistake with the confiscation? To understand what happened, we have to start with how Higuruma's domain expansion works. Quick recap. I explained this in this video too, but basically Higuruma's domain expansion, Deadly Sentencing, lets him and Judge Man put people on trial and punish them based on their crimes, either by just confiscation of cursed technique and energy, or with a side order of death. Sukuna's cursed tool, Kamutoke, is closely tied to Sukuna's cursed techniques and comes with a massive amount of cursed energy. That's why it got confiscated. After all, it's one of the things he's used to defeat the sorcerers of the Heian era, including the Angel. So basically, Judge Man didn't make a mistake, maybe. It just prioritized which one had more energy and could do more damage at the time, which, to be fair, isn't a dumb idea. I also think Sukuna himself somehow offered up his cursed tool's energy for confiscation, because if it's between Kamutoke and Malevolent Shrine, well, we know which one is more OP. The good news is though that Higuruma did not die, cause he was teleported out of the battlefield by Ui Ui and Kirara Hoshi, Kinji's girlfriend. At number 9 is Grade 1 Sorcerer Atsuya Kusakabe. Okay, so Mans was too scared to go down to Basement 5 during the Shibuya incident. But let's not be salty about it. Basements are high-key scary. I mean, I seen way too many horror movies when I was younger. You know when you used to just like turn off the lights and get to the bed before? I didn't even want to go into basements. There was a time. Also, a basement with thousands of high-grade curses and the resurrected body of Suguru Geto? GG, bro. But during the battle against Sukuna, he realized he was more than willing to put himself in danger to help those who have a higher chance of defeating the King of Curses. Does that mean Kusakabe finally overcame his fear of Sukuna? Nope, he didn't. He was actually scared the entire time. He even asked himself, this isn't like me. Why the hell am I trying so hard? But in the same chapter, we saw different memories from various friends of Kusakabe, including Satoru Gojo. They described how despite his constant complaining and fearful personality, Kusakabe remains a kind man and a powerful sorcerer. And Kusakabe cooked with this line. The kids all fought with their lives on the line. What kind of adult would I be if I didn't charge towards my death just the same? Kusakabe is already a grade 1 sorcerer and gave the other Jujutsu sorcerers protection and enough time to recover. And that's why he deserves to be at number 9. In chapter 246, my man for real wasted no time and tanked Sukuna's attacks to protect Hiromi Higuruma. Kusakabe even soloed and fought Sukuna head-on when there was no other choice, dropping some bangers like the new Shadow style simple domain, Evening Moon's sword drawing. Like even as his sword broke, bro went hand to hand against Sukuna himself. And when that wasn't enough, he picked up his broken sword, turned it into a cursed energy lightsaber, and flexed another technique, new Shadow style Moonlight Veil. The balls on this guy, who was apparently scared, are titanium, my friend. Also, he lived. Sukuna may have nearly ripped him to shreds, but he got transported out of the battlefield and got fixed. Number 8, Hana, Kurusu, and the Angel. Did you know that without Hana and the Angel, none of this entire arc would have been possible? Hana and the Angel's contribution was threefold, and it began way before the fight ever happened. First, both of them together freed Gojo from the prison realm with their curse technique, maximum output, Jacob's Ladder. Second, Hana and the Angel helped Yuta copy Jacob's Ladder and put it inside one of his swords in his domain expansion. A big brain move considering Yuta did land this hit on Sukuna, breaking his control over Fushigoro's body and allowing Yuji to finally connect with his bro Megami's trapped soul. Third, both Hana and the Angel hit Sukuna with another surprise, Jacob's ladder attack. Granted, this last attack was a little meh, but it distracted Sukuna long enough for Yuji to slowly recover cursed energy and open his own domain expansion, which we still don't understand how it works. But let's do a quick acknowledgement of their histories to understand how this god tier combination came to be. First off is the Angel. There isn't much info about the Angel, nor an image of what she actually looked like, but chapter 238's reveal of Sukuna's true form also revealed that the Angel was part of Abe clan's Deshi Pacification Squad during the Heian era. Even with the help of the remaining members of the Sugawara clan, the Angel was defeated by Sukuna in his final form. And this was after Sukuna completely destroyed the elite Celestial Squad and the 5 Void Generals of the Fujiwara Hokage branch. Keep in mind, these sorcerers were basically the Avengers of that time. Japan's mightiest sorcerers, well, until Sukuna Thanos them out of existence. But the Angel gets a second chance at defeating Sukuna, after taking a deal with Kanjaku aka Sasi Geto to be reincarnated just in time for the Calling Games. Here comes Hana Kurusu. From what we know of Hana, she was basically held hostage by a cursed spirit when she was just a child. Then along came her knight in shining Shikigami, Megumi. Since then, not only did my girl fall head over heels with the Riz Lord Megumi, she was like, I'm gonna become a savior too. This mindset turns Hana into a compatible vessel for the Angel. Hana and the Angel's ability to basically call down God's wrath from heaven and hit Sukuna with it again and again cemented their spot at number 8. Hana even met with Fushiguro sometime after the battle, and Riz Lord Megumi, and man, the boy don't miss, says, let me be your right hand from now on, Kurusu. Alright, well, at least someone's high school crush is starting to work out. And number 7, we have Death Painting Womb, Choso. I don't know if you know this, but there is a chance that Choso could have survived Sukuna's Divine Flames. This guy analyzed Sukuna's Divine Flame and how it created a bomb within his domain. His domain expansion created a closed space of highly explosive pulverized dust that, when set on fire, resulted in what's called a thermobaric explosion. A kind of explosion that creates a lot of heat, pressure, and a ton of destructive force. Kinda like this. Simply put, Sukuna nuked everyone in the vicinity. My theory is that Choso could have actually increased his own chance of surviving the attack by building a blood shield around himself too, but he didn't want to take that risk. A weaker barrier on both Yuji and Choso might have just been broken from the sheer power of Sukuna's ult. So bro did what any responsible brother would have done, built a stronger barrier around his little bro, Yuji, at the expense of his own life. This selfless act is why Choso is the chosen for the 7th spot on this list. But even before the battle, Choso already pulled a goated strategy that secured Jujutsu sorcerers, the W. Choso was the first one to suggest body swap / switch training with the team. This strategy was a big brain play, basically gave Yuji and the others the ability to learn different curse techniques from each other. Picture this bro, when you swap bodies with another sorcerer, you basically get every ability and curse technique they ever learned for free. Like how dope is that? And Choso was smart enough to think of that idea on the fly. I'm giving the honor of the number 6 spot to the deserving Aoi Toto. Aoi pulled a clutch move during the Shinjuku Showdown, using Boogie Woogie. Toto, the big stepper, underground methods. Aoi moved people around the battlefield by swapping them with blackbirds that Mei controlled. This upped everyone's survivability, keeping the fighters out of Sukuna's range as much as possible, while also transporting people within striking distance of Sukuna easily. Toto and Mimi also kept this plan secret from Yuji, as bro might accidentally spoil it to Sukuna because of their resonance. By the way, I believe that Mimi using the term resonance here was also a subtle hint that Nobara was coming back later in the series. Obviously, I made a video on that too. Anyways, Toto's new extension for his missing hand, the Vibra Slap, greatly improved Boogie Woogie's strength and range. Toto was popping off during the fight, showing more control with his ability and assisted Yuji with landing blow after blow after blow on Sukuna. And look, Yuji even landed another Black Flash. Without Toto's Boogie Woogie, Yuji wouldn't have been able to hammer as much pressure into Sukuna as he wanted. Toto's spot at number 5, because he's a support character. Toto is like definitely solidified, I think, for his contribution at number 5 because he's a support character that cannot be taken for granted. His high IQ fakeouts and gigabrain planning slowly overwhelmed Sukuna. Toto even swapped Hana Kurusu in for another surprise attack on Sukuna. Sukuna did manage to take Toto out of commission, but it was because Toto jumped in the way and took the attack directed at Hana. But he tanks that and even survives till the end. Perhaps the award for the most badass character developments in Jujutsu Kaisen goes to our sorcerer turned Super Saiyan, Maki Zenin. and Makiro deserves it. Despite her toxic family and traumatic experiences, Maki Zenin stepped up and gave Sukuna a run for his money. I mean, bro, like even with just her character development alone, Maki deserves number 5. While grieving Gojo Sensei's death, Maki immediately went Gear 2 after Yuta traps Sukuna with his domain expansion. Maki basically breaks into Yuta's domain like it was just another Tuesday and stabs Sukuna with her split soul katana. Then, being the badass that she is, she continued to exchange blows with Sukuna, even dodging his world-cutting slash. Sukuna even compares her to Mahoraga during the fight in Shibuya and was very impressed with how her heavenly restricted body could keep up with everything. Again, getting high praise from BBEG? Like this means you a baddie. Even when she was hit with Black Flash, the lady just brushes it off and dissects one of Sukuna's hands. To understand how she got enough power to go toe-to-toe with Sukuna, let's take a look at the checklist of the things that Maki Zenin survived thus far. Disowned by her family for not having cursed energy, check. Hated by her twin sister because she left her alone to suffer with their obnoxious family, check. Almost died because of Geto's attack on Jujutsu High, check. Survived the special grade curse's attack during the Kyoto Goodwill event, check. Almost got eaten by Dagon's Fang sea creatures, check. Got set on fire by Jogo and almost burned to death, check. Got slashed halfway to death by her own father as punishment for being a failure. That reminds me of something. Check. Fed to cursed spirits in a dark pit along with her twin sister, check. Witnessed her own sister die in her arms, check. So you know I get it. She lost her shit, man, and basically went Toji mode on her father and everyone in their clan, deleting them from existence. Well deserved, right? But the main question is, what about her future with Yuta? Am I the only one thinking about this? How Maki and Yuta have so much tension between them, you can just feel it through the screen? Chapter 268. After the epic battle with Sukuna, Yuta gets in some serious trouble with Maki as she totally rips him a new one for taking risky moves during the fight. But let's be real, we all see the sparks flying between them, right? Like, come on, Maki, just tell Yuta. You like him already. God dang, girl, he just came back to life. How many more chances you need? Although I don't know what Rika would say about this. At number 4 is our last minute contributor, Nobara Kugisaki. First, we have the obvious question, how did Nobara survive Mahito's idol transfiguration? Well, here are 3 theories. Number 1, Nobara got back in time for Airi Shoko to heal her. In chapter 127, episode 44, after Mahito wrecks Nobara's face, Toto arrives with a first-year Jujutsu student, Arata Nita. As Nita applies his curse technique Painkiller to stop Yuji's injuries from getting worse, he tells Yuji that he did the same thing to Nobara, saying even though she's not breathing and has no pulse, it hasn't been very long. Her chance of survival isn't 0. Bro then retreats with Nobara, I assume to bring her to Airi Shoko, their goated resident Jujutsu healer. Megami's response, or the lack of it, to Yuji asking about Nobara in chapter 144 supports this theory. Notice that Megami didn't actually say that she died, so his silent response could also mean that she was either A, in critical condition, or B, that her condition hasn't improved yet. But we know for a fact that Airi's doing or has done the best she can to heal her with reverse curse technique. Which brings me to the next theory. Number 2, that Nobara is now a cursed corpse. At several points in the manga, Principal Yaga's ability of creating cursed corpses was brought up and referenced. Fans like you and me think those are only added as either filler or as an explanation to how Panda came to be. They also explained how Panda survives after Kashimo kills 2 of his cores and reduces him to the cute little plushie that he is now. But what if all those panels were hinting at a future part of the story? What if the curse technique that Nita put on Nobara made it so that her body remained frozen until such time that the principal could replicate her body's information and basically create a cursed corpse? Also, what if Principal Gakuganji was there to escort Nobara because he felt guilty about killing Yaga and ordered to him to keep cursed corpse Nobara safe? There is also a theory that Utahime may have had a hand in buffing up and bringing Nobara back into action. Chapter 223 revealed that Utahime's curse technique, Solo Prohibition Zone, can increase a sorcerer's curse energy, reserve, and output, including her own. And while Utahime was clearly powering up Gojo's attack during the start of the battle at Shinjuku, her ability of greatly increasing a sorcerer's reserve curse energy could also have been used to bring Nobara back to life. Theory number 3. Nobara herself discovered how to do the reverse curse technique. In chapter 122, as Nobara gets ready to fight against Mahito, she says, "Remember the feeling from back then, the core of cursed energy." Sound familiar? It's the same thing old Blue Eyes Gojo-san did when Toji Fushiguro was smashing his throat during the flashback arc. As he confronts Toji in his freshly dead look, Gojo explains that grasping the core of cursed energy in his deathbed was what brought him back. Does this mean that learning reverse curse technique requires meeting certain conditions? Do the conditions include a near-death experience? An influx of cursed energy? Who knows? But Nobara is a powerful sorcerer in her own right. So it's not a stretch to say she'd eventually learn reverse curse technique that way. So, back to her contributions to Sukuna's defeat. How did she do it? Waking up in time for Shinjuku Showdown in chapter 267, Utahime and Principal Gakuganji brought her to where Sukuna's 20th and final finger was sealed. Armed with a straw doll, a nail, and her trusty hammer, Nobara attacks the finger with her curse technique, Resonance, damaging Sukuna's body from the inside and preventing him from using his techniques, especially his domain expansion and hollow wicker basket. Nobara's move was clutch, man. It gave Yuji enough time to fire off a deadly mix of Dismantle, Divergent Fist, and Black Flash on Sukuna, which finally separated Fushiguro's body from the King of Curses. Like, Nobara understood and nailed the assignment. Get it? Cause she uses nails? Thank you, I'm here all week. So even when she wasn't in the fight physically, her Resonance ability was the Uno reverse card they needed to win the fight. This guy needs no introduction, as he's easily one of the most OP characters in the entire series. He'll probably inherit Gojo's title of the most powerful modern sorcerer of our time someday. At number 3 is Yuta Kotsu. Yuta's contributions to Sukuna's fight go beyond the battlefield too, as he deals the killing blow to Kenjaku and ultimately takes his abilities to use later in battle. Even when grieving Gojo's death, Yuta manages to keep a clear head in the fight against Sukuna and just pummels him with curse technique after curse technique, forcing him inside his DE, Authentic Mutual Love. Yuta and Yuji attack Sukuna relentlessly, unleashing various techniques like Curse Speech, Thin Icebreaker, Sky Manipulation, G-War Staff, and Jacob's Ladder. He even gave Sukuna a taste of his own medicine with a surprise cleave. Sukuna was like, what? Yuta even used a Tokenic secret technique called lying, right to Sukuna's face, saying Rika ate his last finger, when it was really Yuji's finger he ate. But even after Sukuna manages to murk him, Yuta comes back into the battlefield with a surprising new look as fake Gojo. Remember when I said Yuta takes Kenjaku's ability to later use in battle? Yup, Yuta's brain piloted Gojo like a Power Ranger on a Megazord. But couldn't Yuta have just copied Gojo's skills? Why use Kenjaku's weird body snatching technique at all? I think the catch is, like, only a person with 6 eyes can use a Limitless, and it can't be copied. And the body snatching plan had its own risks. In chapter 261, Meimei lists 3 possible ways that the brain swap could go wrong, and all possibly resulting in Yuta's death. But Yuta made the decision long ago that he was willing to become a monster, if only to save his friend and the world. He even asked Gojo's permission to pilot his body in case Gojo died, to which Gojo basically replied, I'm down, bro, cool. So back to the fight with Sukuna. Yuta Gojo and Sukuna's domains clashed, and Yuta used Gojo's idea of shrinking the barrier of infinite void to give it more stability. During the fight, Yuta digs into his bag of tricks again and pulls out a tape recorder with Inumaki's cursed speech saying, don't move. This gave Yuta enough time to complete the chant for a hollow purple attack, blasting Sukuna and collapsing the barrier they were in. Not gonna lie, the way he bodied Sukuna and the level of strength and control he displayed while piloting Gojo, he deserves number 3. He was honestly still reiterating to go after this attack, but Kenjaku's curse technique had different plans that day. The boy just, face planted. Gojo's body collapsed due to burnout. You guys know this, drunk uncle after 5 rounds of beer at happy hour, the typical Sundays. But Rika is quick on the draw, healing Yuta's original body and safely replacing his brain back. Let's say this all together now. Rika is the best Shikigami. Verified. If there is anyone in the world who earned the right to delete Sukuna from existence, it's this guy. And I don't know if you realize, but Yuji even managed to give Sukuna emotional damage. After all the trauma and burden he carried on his conscience. With the hundreds of lives Sukuna took, Yuji was so ready to throw hands. And he wasted no time doing it. During the Shinjuku Showdown, it was when Yuji activated his domain expansion, and a confused Sukuna went with Yuji on a literal nature walk, thinking this was Yuji's way of showing what his goal was for living a simple life. Hence the familiar places they went to in the domain. Sukuna just brushed it off and said he didn't care. But the look on Yuji's face made Sukuna realize what Yuji's true intentions were. This domain was actually an act of pity for Sukuna. A normal human pitying the King of Curses. Sukuna was goddamn pissed. That was some high-level emotional burn, and Sukuna lost it. Threatened to kill Yuji and everyone he ever cared for. It was most likely at this point that Sukuna probably started to lose. You know why? If you recall, one of the earliest lessons that Gojo taught Yuji was that a great sorcerer knows how to control his emotions. Yuji pitying Sukuna to the point of making an entire domain about it messed him up so bad he basically lost a certain degree of control. Though I doubt Sukuna would admit it, man has too much pride. All the while, Yuji was still cooking up some black flashes and divergent fists. And somewhere, hundreds of miles away, Nobara was about to deal massive damage to Sukuna through his mummified finger. Yuji got a lot of support from all of his friends we mentioned earlier in the list, but do you know why he actually deserves the number 2 spot? 5 words. He did not give up. This is the guy who endured every slash, every punch, every kick, and every explosion from Sukuna, and he still kept coming back for more. Yuji is one tough nut, and Sukuna underestimating him only led to a GGWP. Yuji used every trick and every kind of attack he could. He even spit blood on Sukuna's face at one point. Sukuna never managed to get rid of Yuji, and every time he lost an arm or broke a bone or got torn to shreds, he always came back with more fire in his heart, only to save his friend. Yes, the power of friendship. Naruto move. Well, you know what they say. If at first you don't succeed, heal yourself with reverse curse technique. Before we declare our number 1 contributor to Sukuna's defeat, let's give some time to acknowledge our honorable mentions. Fumihiko Takaba. Though not directly involved with the fight against Sukuna, Takaba's battle versus Kenjaku made sure he wouldn't be able to go back and assist Sukuna. Hajime Kashimo, God of Lightning. While Kashimo may have unleashed his powerful curse technique, Mythical Beast Amber, the difference in power between him and Sukuna was just too wide. Ui, Meme's beloved brother, was a god-tier support in the fight versus Sukuna. Not only did he enable the team switch training, his ability to teleport people, like what the, in and out of the battlefield, saved so many lives, and we would not have had the bittersweet ending we got if not for Ui's ability to snatch and run. Kinji Hakari. Without Kinji Hakari keeping Urame busy, Team Save the World would all have frozen to death. And at number 1 is the GOAT himself, Satoru Gojo. Like, no one can truly compare the talent, the brilliance, and sheer power of our boy, this man. Easy on the eyes too, by the way. Yeah, I'm a straight dude, but without Gojo Satoru, the Shinjuku Showdown would have been a Shinjuku massacre. This is the man who flicked a 200% enhanced hollow purple attack at Sukuna from miles away. Sukuna couldn't even dodge the attack that blew away all of Shinjuku like this. This is the man who clashed domain expansions with Sukuna multiple times and adapted each time to make his domain stronger. This is the man who stood toe-to-toe not just against Sukuna, but also against the Divine General Mahoraga and Merged Beast Agito. And Gojo bodied them. Even with Mahoraga's high adaptability to curse techniques, Gojo turned it into dust with a hollow purple attack, which Sukuna barely survived. Even before this, Gojo kept raking Sukuna across the buildings and rubble. At some point, Gojo even managed to crush Sukuna's heart with a single blow. From the outside, it was GGWP for Sukuna. Even when Gojo got his body parts cut off, he just kept regenerating and pummeling Sukuna, using his control over infinity to land blow after blow on the King of Curses. So where did it all go wrong? Well, the one advantage that Sukuna had was Mahoraga. Because Sukuna had tamed Mahoraga, he could now use its ability to adapt to curse techniques, including Gojo's infinity. The moment Mahoraga's second adaptation kicked in, Sukuna let loose the slash that cut the world. Gojo was not the target, but the entire space in the world around them. This wide-range attack bypassed Gojo's infinity, and in a shocking turn of unfortunate events, Gojo-san's body was cut in half. I'm not gonna lie, it hurt my eyes to see my beloved Gojo meet his end. But you, as a fan, can take solace in the fact that at the end of his life, Gojo was welcomed to the afterlife by the friends he lost. Geto, Nanami, Principal Yaga, and several others met their dear old friend as Gojo finally took his last breath. Is there a chance he will come back? Gege himself confirmed that there will be no sequel to Jujutsu Kaisen. Story-wise, Yuta has already exhausted Kenjaku's skill and can no longer pilot Gojo's body. Let's face it though, he wouldn't want to keep doing it anyway. That's it. He's just gone now. RIP to the GOAT, Satoru Gojo, the strongest Jujutsu sorcerer in the world.